Good evening and welcome to the Bullshit Channel. What I'm going to talk about tonight is one of the biggest bullshit crap they call them SJWs, the social justice warriors. They're not social, they don't stand for justice, and they sure the fucking hell ain't warriors. I'm going to give you a little something right now. I'm going to tell you the difference between a soldier and a warrior. A soldier kills on somebody else's orders. A warrior kills for his own reasons. And, these SJW fuckweasels are no more warriors than either one of my cats is a fucking mountain lion. I seen some lectures today on hate speech. I got curious about it. I heard it brought up on a couple other videos I watched, and I kind of sort of knew about some of it. And the more I look into it, the more it's bullshit. The whole concept of hate speech is bullshit. In this day and age, you can't fart without offending somebody. And, it's all tied up in the PC movement. I remember the first time I heard somebody say F-bomb. And I thought, if you're going to say F-bomb, just say fuck. Jesus H. Christ. We all know what it means. You say F-bomb, we all know that it means fuck. So you might as well go ahead and goddamn say it. And I guess it's a sign of the times. You got these idiots that they think, they know what's best for society, and it's that monotheistic fucking one-size-fits-all crap. Something else I watched today, I watched the Bill Hicks movie. Bill Hicks was a comedian that died in '94 of cancer, and he was in the vein of, if you don't know who Bill Hicks is, his routines were in the vein of George Carlin and Lenny Bruce. He swore. He pointed out that the government was full of shit. I was a he did that stuff for about 15 years, and that was right through the center of my drinking. So I never have gone to theaters and stuff, and I don't remember ever them being alive or like an HBO. I guess there was a couple HBO shows, and I didn't catch them. Lenny Bruce did the same thing. He was a groundbreaker for these the comedic commentators on our society. He didn't pull any punches. He swore. He did all sorts of shit. They tried to have him arrested. I guess he did get arrested a couple of times, and the charges didn't stick. I grew up with George Carlin. I know more about Carlin than than I do Lenny. I was too young to know much about him when he died. And like I said, I was at 94 was in during my drinking career. I do remember Carlin. I saw him a lot on HBO and other specials and stuff. And as a kid, I remember seeing him on Johnny Carson, which he didn't swear and cuss and stuff there, but that's where he got his start. Or maybe it was the reruns or something. I remember, seeing him on stage on Carson. And I have to wonder what any of those three gentlemen would think about the crap going on today. All three of them, Bruce and was pretty much a 60s, and Carlin was 60s, 70s, 80s, died in 97, and Hicks, ran in the same time frame. I don't think he was quite as famous as Carlin or Bruce, but I could be wrong. Sometimes I am. Yeah, I'm not being a pagan. I can admit when I'm wrong. That was their thing, was pissing people off, trying to get their message across about how screwed up our government is, and how screwed up religion is, and how screwed up our society is. Because the bottom line is, most people are fucking sheeple. I I hate to tell you, but if you're a monotheist, you're a fucking sheeple. And, when we get into a society that ideas can't be expressed because you got a bunch of jerk-offs labeling people as Nazis and, communists and, socialists, or whatever the bad word of the day is. What they're trying to do is silence the majority. And our mainstream media has bought into that bullshit. Anybody, to my way of thinking, as a human being and a druid, is everybody's entitled to their opinion, whether I agree with them or not. And if they get a public forum, then their ideas and theories and philosophies are going to get put out there. And I have the choice to, which I say I will listen to somebody that I don't know who they are to see where they're at and what they're about. And, like I commented on Cantwell, he wasn't entirely wrong. And he definitely wasn't entirely right. But he wasn't entirely wrong either. And, this whole concept of hate speech, and I just found out today where that came from, was forwarded by Russia in the 50s. And it was to make it illegal, basically, for people to say nasty shit about them. And, it was done through the UN, and just a few years, while Clinton was in, so that would have been a while back. A group of Muslims got the UN to pass a hate speech law that prohibits that you can be jailed, and this has happened. People have been jailed, denied attorneys, denied due process for saying shit that pissed the Muslims off. And, you know, if you've followed any of the news, you know that pretty much anything you say concerning the Muslims piss them off. In fact, just saying what I just said probably pissed them off. You know what? If I did, fuck them. I don't give a shit. I'm an equal opportunity monotheistic disliker. I don't like any of them. There's some that I dislike less than the others. Like, I really don't have anything against the Jews because, you know, they're monotheistic, which I don't agree with that, and I think their whole history's a made-up pile of bullshit. But they don't try to convert people. You know, there's a whole lineage thing. The only thing that I have a problem with is the circumcision shit. I think that's mutilation, and I think it should be fucking illegal. I'm not cut. My kids weren't cut. You know, and if they want to do that in Israel, that's fine. But here in the United States, it should be fucking illegal. You know, you hear all this shit about the female circumcision crap that the Muslims do around the world, and everybody boo-hoo gets up in arms about that. But I've seen the videos of circumcisions, and there's no way, shape, or form you can tell me that them kids don't feel it. And they don't use anesthetic. Sometimes it's done wrong. Sometimes it mutilates the boy's penis to the point he can't even use it. Ever. You know? How'd you like to explain to your child that, oh, because I'm honoring some bullshit, ancient 2,500-year-old fucking tribal mutilation bullshit, that you'll never have kids? You won't pee normal. You won't even know what it's like to jerk off. You know? It's bullshit. You know, and the only way people find out what they're doing is bullshit is by somebody telling them it's bullshit. And it's going to piss them off because these extreme lefts and extreme rights and all these special interest fucking groups don't want to hear that they're full of shit. That the majority of the people that are following a leader in these organizations are being lied to, they're being manipulated, they're being fed bullshit, and they're asking for a second helping. You know, what I don't understand, well, I do somewhat, because like I mentioned in another video, the neurobiology reasons why people are stupid. You know, people make decisions all the time for themselves. You know, if you're a smart car buyer, you just don't walk on a lot, plunk down $30,000 and say, just give me whatever the fuck you want. You know, they should be doing some research, reading some articles, seeing if they're safe, what their fuel mileage is, blah, yada, yada, what all the benefits of a particular vehicle are, and what its downsides are, and making a decision of what they want to buy. People every day make a decision to root for a certain sports team, which that's another part of the bullshit story, is professional sports. I never followed professional sports. When I was a kid and when I was drinking, I loved playing football, baseball, basketball. I played volleyball. But I got better things to do than watching a bunch of dudes that are making probably 4,000 or 5,000% more than I am. I'm not going to do the math of how many times 12,000 goes into $50 million some of these sports guys are making, find out what the percentage is. But it's got to be up there 3,000, 4,000, 5,000% more than I do. And I ain't sure the hell ain't buying their clothes with their names and shit on it. You know, I've always looked at it, even before some of my life-changing shit happened, that if it's not putting food on the table and money in my pocket, it don't affect me. You know? I don't give a shit. And, you know, besides Christianity being right out of the Roman playbook, professional sports is right out of the Roman playbook also. They used to call them gladiators. And the only reason that they had the gladiatorial fights was to take the population's mind off of how bad they were being fucked. That was the only reason. And they sure to hell weren't making $50 million. And our society buys into that bullshit. You can't drive around without seeing Brown stickers or Steeler stickers or, you know, some sports team stickers or some guy's number, you know, his jersey number stuck on the back of a car, or somebody's wearing, you know, that guy's name on a shirt and his number and crap that, you know, the NFL made so much money off of, or the NBA made so much money off of, or whatever the baseball shit leagues are called, you know, made money off of. I'm not a walking billboard for a $50 million paycheck, motherfucker. Ain't gonna do it. Ain't never done it. The only time I ever did it, and I did it by accident, I found a pair of sneakers I liked at Crown Shoes when they were still around. And I just thought they were cool because they had like an automotive theme to them. And I happened to see the name, and I looked it up, and I found out he was some basketball star or some shit. All I cared about was they were $100 sneakers, and I paid $5 for them. Or I wouldn't have been wearing them. You know, back in the day when I was a drunk, I was a big NASCAR fan, and I had NASCAR this and NASCAR that, and, you know, shirts with my favorite drivers' names on them and all that other crap. Where were they when I ended up on a fucking gurney? They were doing what they were supposed to do. They had no idea I was around, I was breathing, or I was dying. It wasn't their concern. And whether they're driving around in a circle for 500 miles, or whether they're running across a basketball court for whatever, hour and a half, or hitting a golf ball for 18 holes, and that's a golf course is a perfectly good waste of a public forest and a park. You know, it's crap. You know, we have all these, the government and all these big corporations and shit have six-figure income shrinks and social scientists and political scientists and all this shit on their fucking payroll to figure out the next new way to fuck us over. And part of their deal with this is this hate speech crap. You know, it comes down to we can't even talk to each other because we might offend somebody is our society is going to go stagnant. And like one gentleman pointed out in his lecture today, that's a sign of a totalitarian government. Banning free speech. Taking over the universities. You know, I've seen more comedians interviewed to talk about they won't do their gigs at colleges anymore because the kids are so closed-minded and try to, you know, just cause them problems, and they don't laugh at their jokes, and then they end up posting nasty shit about them on Twitter and Facebook and, you know, YouTube and all this other crap because, ooh, he made a joke about blacks. Ooh, he made a joke about Donald Trump. Ooh, he made a joke about this. He made a joke about that. You know, and what's sad is these fuckers are going to be our next presidents and congressmen and senators, which if they ain't fucked up bad enough now, they're really going to be fucked up come, you know, when these young kids start getting into offices. They're not being taught critical thinking. They're not using critical thinking. They're just la-di-da-di-da down the old primrose path. Some idiot told them, yeah, this is the way it is, and they're too ignorant to fucking do the research themselves and find out what the hell's going on. You know, and society ain't helping. They're, you know, society with their, you know, hate speech bullshit crap. And, you know, you get these groups called the social justice warriors. You know, and they're, I don't know, I haven't looked into them a lot yet. I just know they're assholes. I'm going to start looking into them. I'm going to find out who's financing these fuckers. And I'll goddamn guarantee it's going to be the Koch brothers or it's going to be some big industrial deal. That was Thelma that just put on a cameo. Hi, Thelma. See, I told you she wasn't a mountain lion. And it's all part of the bigger picture, you know. I'm going to do a little experiment. Yeah. Muslims, fuck you. Christians, fuck you. Catholics, fuck you. Jews, fuck you. Buddhists and Hindus, fuck you. Now let's see if the social justice warriors come knocking on my door. I'd kind of like it if they did. I don't turn the other cheek. You know, I'll treat anybody with respect that treats me with respect. But that's a two fucking way street. You don't respect me, I definitely ain't gonna fucking respect you. Yeah. Because of what I just said, this might be my last video that goes on YouTube. Because I'm sure somebody's gonna fucking complain. Maybe not. I don't have that many people. I don't have any followers. Of course, you know, I've only been doing this as the fifth video I've done. So, I'm just an insignificant disabled vet living in AMHA housing. You know, I ain't gonna. I have no clout. I have no traction. But I do have a voice and I do have a phone. So I get to speak my piece. One of the things when I joined the military was, you know, upholding, you know, we swore an oath, you know, to, you know, part was up. I don't remember the whole thing right now. I'd have to look it up. Been too long since I said it. You know, protect the Constitution and protect our country from enemies inside and outside. You fucking idiot. I look at you as enemies. Enemies of our society, enemies of our way of life, enemies of intelligence. You guys think you yell your stupid shit loud enough that the rest of us are going to forget what the truth is. Like I said, I'm an equal opportunity disliker. I dislike all the monotheistic fuckers. Fucking, not the people, but the institutions of. Well, thanks for tuning into the bullshit channel. Have a good evening.